Hello everybody and welcome finally to my new gaming channel on YouTube. I have been trying to do this for months now. I bought all of my equipment that I wanted to get and I tried recording videos, no joke, like 6 times before this over the course of the past 2 months, and every single time something in my technology would mess up. Either my computer would blue screen or not save the recording or it'd be laggy or whatever. But I think I have finally figured everything out. Everything appears to be working. Fingers crossed. So we're going to try this again. We're going to start with Dark Souls 3 actually, and I was debating what game to start with, but I landed on this one for a few reasons. One is I've been playing it a lot lately on my own, so I'm very comfortable with it. I'm very familiar with it, and I just really enjoy playing it, so I'm thinking it'll be a good one for me to sort of wet my feet with. I don't actually know why I like it so much, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So I'm kind of hoping that in the process of recording these videos, I'll get to kind of work through why it works so well for me, because on paper, it shouldn't necessarily. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, let's start a new game.
Yes, indeed. It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, saint of the deep, Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital, Yon the Giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
So that was our intro to Dark Souls 3. It's actually one of my favorite cinematics of the series. I don't know why. They're all pretty similar in their structure, but I happen to really like that one. So now let's create our character. And this won't take very long because I have a pretty good idea of what character I want to play this time around. Also, I'm sorry if the clicking of my joystick is going to get annoying. I hope not. We'll see. This is all trial and error. More error than trial at this point, but that's okay. Definitely want to be female. Mature. Okay, so class is where decisions start having to be made. Sort of. So obviously, class is the kind of character you're playing, so it's your preferred fighting style and equipment style and such. I, in the past, have played this particular game. In the very recent past, I played this game like 3 times in a row now. The first couple times I played it as a dexterity character, which is like katanas and really fast like daggers and really fast like stabby weapons. The last time I played it, I actually played it as a sorcerer, which I really enjoyed, but it was quite overpowered and I don't necessarily want to do that again. So this time I'm going to go pure strength build, which basically just means I'll get to use all of the really heavy two-handed weapons and like battle axes and all of the giant things that just smash people to bits, which is always really fun. And I'll probably get into like breaking down what all of this stuff means at some point, but for anybody who might be new to the Souls series. But basically, what you should know at the beginning of the creation screen is classes in Dark Souls don't necessarily work the same as other RPGs. So in, say, World of Warcraft, which is probably going to be my go-to comparison because that's one that I'm extremely familiar with, when you pick a class at the beginning, when you pick your character, if you pick a druid, for instance, you are a druid. Like you can't later on decide, oh, I actually wanted to be a mage. Like, no, you're a druid. That's what you are. Congratulations. In Dark Souls, this choice doesn't matter so much at the beginning because of the way that you level up your character. So if you see the statistics next to my character's body, level, vigor, attunement, etc., and those numbers, so those are going to change depending on which character I pick at the beginning, like those numbers are, but they're all so low that it doesn't make that much of a difference to begin with. And the way the game works is every time you level up, you add another point to one of those statistics. So you get to choose where you dump all of your points. So if I were going to pick a warrior right now, which I'm going to, and then later I decided, oh, actually, I want to be a sorcerer instead, all I would have to do to make that happen is just, instead of putting my level up points in strength or whatever, I would just dump them all into intelligence and then boom, I'm a sorcerer, because that's their primary statistic that allows them to use magic. So that's really all you need to know. Vigor is your health. Attunement is how many spells you can have if you're going for a magic build. Endurance is your stamina. Vitality is your equipment load, like how much weight you can carry before it slows you down. Strength and dexterity are your physical weapon styles, fighting styles. Again, strength is more heavy weapons, dexterity is faster weapons. Intelligence and faith are 2 different strains of magic, and luck is what it sounds like. It's, a retired football player. Too soon. It's your item find and such. So that was a lot longer than I expected to go into it, but whatever, we're here now, we did it. I usually go with a life ring for this. So the burial gift is just when you start the game, like you are given one sort of free item when you start, and you can choose what that is. A lot of these are things you can either find in the world or buy. So like, we'll be able to find all of this just about at some point. I usually pick the life ring just because I like having a little bit of an extra boost for HP, just because it makes me feel safer. But you can go with any of these. Actually, the Sovereignless Soul might be useful because that gives you a lot of souls, which is what you use to level up. So that could be fun. Let's try that. I'm not going to mess with the appearance because it doesn't really matter and I don't really care, to be perfectly honest. Start with this character. I'm really excited, you guys. I really, really like this game and I don't know why. Again, I've played World of Warcraft a lot in my life. Like that was what I cut my teeth on not in terms of gaming. I was definitely like a Nintendo girl as a kid. Like, I grew up with Mario and all of that, but in terms of RPGs, World of Warcraft was my first, and like way back in vanilla, like proper vanilla days, not like the current vanilla, which I'm sure is wonderful, but I'm just saying, like, when I say vanilla, I mean it. And so I'm really familiar and comfortable with RPGs. I really enjoy them. So in theory, Dark Souls should be no different, except that the style of the game is really different. Like the way it uses, like, the mechanics are pretty much what you'd expect, but the way it unrolls the story, such as it is very different than a lot of games I'm used to. So I tend to really like heavily narrative focused games. So like The Last of Us or God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn, like RPGs that have a lot of action but are also extremely focused on the story and on a very particular story. Like, they're all focused on a character who has an arc. Dark Souls is not like that. Your character is never named. Your character is an everyman, essentially, and every undead, I guess. And the story isn't really laid out for you at all. So the intro that we just saw, the cinematic, is basically as much... Oh gosh, I should probably pay attention. It's basically as much info as you get. Did I click the wrong starter thing? I did. I picked a knight. I meant to pick a warrior. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I just expected to have an axe, not a sword. So the cinematic that we just saw tells you a little bit. So it tells you basically the names of the bosses that you're going to be fighting. So Yorm the Giant or St. Aldrich of the Deep. But it doesn't really tell you who those people are or what they mean to you as a character. Or as a player, I guess, since you can't even really feasibly be called a character. I don't think. So it's a little bit unusual compared to most games because the story you kind of have to piece together on your own. A lot of the lore and the world building is done in like item descriptions. Let's see if I have any that I can use as an example. Maybe this will help. So that kind of, like, you see how the middle section of the screen, it has like a description of the item. That's where a lot of the times you'll find the lore for the story. So it'll say like, oh, so-and-so of such place, used this weapon to whatever. I'll show you examples as we get there. But a lot of even that lore doesn't really have anything to do with what you're doing in the game. Like, it doesn't have much to do with our journey, per se. So, again, the main core storyline in this game is essentially Link the Fire, which is not particularly helpful if you don't know what that means or why you might want to do that. And the game doesn't really ever spell it out for you. All you're really told is that the fire is fading and someone has to link it to keep the fire going, basically. And the rest is just up to you to figure out as you will. So that's why, on paper, this game doesn't make sense for me to enjoy so much, because it's not fair to say that it's more about the action, because it's not. It's extremely atmospheric and really beautifully rendered in terms of visuals, and also there's a lot of really lovely touches in like character, like the NPC dialogue, and just little hidden things that you stumble upon, which is really fun. But yeah, in terms of like there being a narrative and a narrative arc, that's not so much. And probably all the extremely hardcore fans of this game are gonna yell at me for that, but whatever. I'm right. So, anyways. So having said all of that, I have played this game. This game in particular, this is my 4th time now in a row, like in the last month, playing this game. Just for fun, just because I liked it. I like it so much and I want to play it. I've also played the first and the second Dark Souls games recently. So I'm clearly a fan. And I just can't figure out why, which is weird. So that's kind of one of the goals for this playthrough. Anyways, so right now I'm just clearing out this opening little area before we hit what is the first boss shortly. I just like to clean everything out before I move on. Make sure I haven't missed any items or any helpful stuff. I like the backstab, as you've noticed. You can also parry these guys, but I have a really hard time parrying. So I don't tend to do it much. I should probably also talk about my plans for not only this playthrough, but also this channel. Like I said, I've been trying to do this for a couple of months now, so I have a pretty solid idea of what I want this to be or to become. For this playthrough at least, and I haven't decided if I'm gonna play multiple games at once and like post videos of them, you know, like at the same time or, you know, like within the same period of time. But with this game, with this playthrough, I think I'm gonna go for just a pretty traditional playthrough where I show you everything I do. So I probably won't make too many edits or cuts or anything, unless I just die like 8 million times like I might here in a second. And that gets really repetitive and boring fast. But I think I'm just gonna play it and let you guys sort of play it with me. That's what I really enjoyed watching in like Let's Plays and gaming videos is I just find it really relaxing to watch somebody play a game and just like see the whole journey and not like a cut up version of it. I feel like I can relax into it and really like come along for the ride, I guess. It feels comforting, I guess, in a way. And I'll probably talk more about that later at some point too. But for now, that's my goal, I think. So we'll see what happens. If you guys have opinions and you'd rather me like actually edit the video and cut out all the boring bits and any dead space where I just stop talking, because that'll probably happen because I will probably run out of things to say at some point. Tell me and I will, but that's my initial goal. So now there's this fella. Let's go see what he has to say. Oh, in case you don't know, all of these bloodstains on the ground show you where somebody else in their game, like an actual human being playing the game elsewhere in the world, died recently. So that's a pretty good hint that like maybe this fella's not a friend. Maybe? Let's see. Extremely not a friend. Ow. I have missed having a shield, you guys. I've been playing a sorcerer recently, and sorcerers basically just don't have shields. Oh god, hold on. No talking. This is phase 2. He's not nice. Oh my god, am I gonna kill him? Yes, I killed him in one shot. Oh my god. That is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. The first time I played this game, I was stuck on him for like an hour or two, maybe longer. I don't remember. It's all just a blur of frustration and rage, but we got through it then and we got through it now. By God. So if you don't know, these bonfires that I've been lighting are, they function as like checkpoints or save points in the game. And shortly here in a minute, we'll be able to travel between them. So it's a, quick zippy way to get around the game, which is really nice. Because in the first game, that ability did not exist until, I don't know, 2/3 of the way through. So you just had to literally walk everywhere. The game does provide a lot of shortcuts between places, like once you work through each level or whatever, or locations, not really levels, it would open up a new shortcut, which was handy. But I like being able to just actually zip between different fires. Okay, stop. Homeward bones are very helpful because they let you essentially like portal back to the last bonfire you rested at. So those are also a helpful tool in getting around quickly. Like if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're like, oh, I need to go back and do such and such. That's a hole, Caleb. Don't fall off the world. That's how you can do that. So that's helpful as well. Hi. Is this a nice view? You like it? Do you want a closer look? Bye! I don't know how good I'm gonna be at talking while I'm playing because I do it like, when I'm playing at home with someone in the room, but I don't talk when I'm playing to like inform. I just talk like, oh crap, like just exclamations and chat. So we'll see how that goes. These guys are my nemesis. These little bone dog things. They're disgusting, first of all. And second of all, they kill me all the time. We hate them. We hate them a lot. We want them all to die. So that one did, thank goodness. So right now I'm just going around and sort of clearing out this area before I head in there, which is our next big location and one of the most important locations in the whole game. That is going to act as a like home base for us as we play. So that's a really important spot. But I like to, again, make sure I get all the items and make sure I don't miss anything important. Because again, this game has a lot of little hidden bits through it. Like little hidden secrets and little hidden items. Like I think there's one, yep, like right here. It's just another homeward bone, but you never know. So it's a good idea just to make sure you've covered all your bases before you move on. You can always come back, but this way you don't have to if you don't want to. Now, up there is a very bad man. He's very dangerous. He has a very long sword. I don't know if you can see it. He's awful. We're going to kill him later, not right now. And I think other than him, that's everything we can get to right now in this area. So let's head home, shall we? Welcome to Firelink Shrine, everybody. Ooh, wow. So Firelink Shrine, if you'll notice, has 5 thrones there. Kind of like the 5 Lords of Cinder they were talking about in the cinematic intro. So, yes, those are our Lord thrones. Whatever. The thrones go without lords, or the lords go without thrones. I don't remember how it's phrased, but... Hello.
Welcome to the bonfire, unkindled one.
Why, thank you.
I'm a firekeeper. I tend to the flame, and tend to thee. The lords have left their thrones, and must be delivered to them. To this end, I am at thy side.
So this is who you talk to when you want to level up, which I'll demonstrate momentarily.
Ashen One, to be unkindled is to be a vessel for souls. Sovereignless souls will become thy strength. I will show thee how. Ashen One, bring me souls plucked from their vessels.
So souls are essentially your currency in this game.
Ashen One, to
Okay.
be I'm Ashen.
Yes, thank you.
Farewell, I've made a flame.
So if you see in the bottom right corner, those are my current souls that I have on hand. And so yeah, it functions essentially as currency in this game. So you use them to level up.
The mark of
Oh,
ash
she's
will
talking.
guide thee to the land of the lords. To Lothric, where the homes of the lords converge.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off her dialogue.
Very well. Then touch the darkness within me.
Seems
Take
a little
nourishment
intimate.
from these sovereignless souls.
So yeah, this is where you level up. And as you can see on the left, we have all of our statistics like we did in the character creation screen, and all the numbers, like what the number on the left, the column on the left is what we currently have, and the column on the right is like any changes we're making. So if I wanted to add a point into endurance, it'll tell me, oh, you're going to have 12 after this, whatever. On the right side of the screen, those other two columns, the middle and the right side, anything that's blue, any number that's blue is the change that it will make if you add your point to that statistic. So if I add a point to endurance, I'm going to go from 95 stamina to 97 in the middle column. And my defense for fire and lightning will go up slightly as well. So that just lets you see like what effect any changes you make is going to have on your character. So that's helpful. And in the top left, it tells you what your level currently is. So I'm currently level 9, which those numbers don't really mean anything. And the souls you have and the required souls to level up again. So like how many you need to get another point. So we can do a few right now. Let's do a couple in endurance and a couple in strength.
Farewell, I've made a
All right, we've got a little bit of talking to do here because NPCs are really important in Dark Souls, and there are quite a lot of them. What do I want to say about it? Okay, so this is another area where Dark Souls doesn't really function the same way as a lot of RPGs do. You don't really have quests in this game so much. You don't have a quest log where you go and see what quests you have, who wants what, where you need to go, what you need to collect or kill. Like, you don't have any of that. Like, there is no quest log. All you can see is what you're currently wearing and your statistics, and then what's in your inventory. That's all you can see. That's all you have. And so the way that questing works in this game is you have to talk to NPCs, and they don't have that gold question or exclamation point over their head like in WoW that says, hey, I have something for you to do here. Like, you just have to be curious and talk to your neighbors, essentially. And then if they need something, if they have their own story arc, they'll sort of let you know. And it's just generally a good idea to talk to everybody you see and then come back later and keep talking to them, because eventually, their lives will change, something will happen, and they'll have new information, their story will progress, and yeah, sometimes we get to be part of that.
Another one roused from the sleep of death. Well, you're not alone. We unkindled are worthless. Can't even die right.
He's not wrong.
Gives me conniptions. And they'd have us seek the lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. But we are talking true legends with the metal to link the fire. They're not fit to lick their boots.
So that, what he just gave me, is called a gesture.
Don't you think?
We'll talk to him again in a second, but I want to demonstrate what gestures are because it's kind of confusing. Not confusing, but if you don't know they're there, it's easy to miss. So yeah, you have like a variety of gestures, and then you can gain new ones from NPCs or from certain actions. Like I think we got one when I lit the first bonfire a minute ago. So he just gave us this one. So that's what he just gave us. Gestures are kind of fun because, as far as I can tell, their main use is in PvP or co-op with other players. So this game has PvP. Wow, who died so much right here? How? What did you jump? Oh, they might have. Okay, there's a reason they might wanted to have killed themselves a bunch of times. What was I saying? Gestures. So yeah, there is PvP in this game, and you can like help other people, like group up as you would in others games, but there's no chat function. Like there's no way to communicate with other people, which is kind of really fascinating. Is the only reason I enjoy PvP and co-op in this game, because I notoriously do not like the MMO aspect of a lot of MMORPGs. It just makes me uncomfortable a lot of the time. I've had bad experiences and stuff. But so the gestures are how you communicate. So when you enter somebody else's game or they enter yours, you know, you can like wave at them or whatever. You can communicate via gesture rather than via type, which is pretty fun. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I didn't finish talking to him. I don't even think he has a name.
What a sick joke. Asking us to seek the Lords of Cinder and return them to their molding thrones.
Okay, I think he's just repeating himself now.
You're talking true.
Yeah. Although he's got a point. So let's talk to this lady.
Pleasure to make thine acquaintance, Ashen One. I am but a humble handmaid of the shrine. Weapons, armor, trinkets, and spells. I've lots of little things to ease the burden of a weary traveler. And yes, I'm undead too, but not so charitable as to give my goods away. Ashen One, fetch souls and bring them to me. As is thy wont? No?
So again, souls are essentially currency, and I mean that literally in this case. So she's a merchant. You can purchase things from her for however many souls, which is very helpful. Oh, I need to buy that. I don't need to, but you can also sell to her, which is really handy. How did I already get a Titanite shard? Huh. That's an upgrade material that you need. So let's keep talking to her.
Ashen One, if my wares are not to thy satisfaction, bring me umbral ash. With ash, I'll fashion new wares. Is it not our sorry fate to sup on death? Knowest thou of that soppy gossip?
No.
That cordial intrusion layeth the path to embers. And
Oh.
so thou art in need of a soapstone, Ashen One. Then thy pockets will overflow with souls to trade to.
So yeah, she sells, that's what I just said, I need to buy that. This white sign soapstone. So soapstones let you leave essentially your calling card on the ground so that other people in their game can see it and summon you into their world to help them. So this is the co-op summon sign thing. There's also a PvP one that we'll get much later on, where you can leave your name and people can choose to like duel you. But that's not going to be for quite a while.
Ashen One.
Okay.
Bring me. Is it not?
She is just repeating herself now.
Ashen One.
Yes, I know, I will bring you more souls. You are so needy. Okay, this is another friend, and if you played Dark Souls 1, obviously you recognize him, but if you haven't, meet Andre.
Newcomer, I see. I am Andre. I serve at this shrine as a humble smith, forging weapons. You're in search of the Lords of Cinder, I trust.
Apparently.
A toilsome journey, I'd wager. You'll require good arms. Let me smith you weapons. I am a smith. Such is my purpose.
So, Andre the blacksmith is what he says. He can reinforce your weapons, infuse them with special properties, which he'll actually tell us about in a second, I think. Repair if we happen to break a weapon, although that's extremely rare because whenever you rest in a bonfire, it repairs the weapon for you. We'll talk about Estus later, and let's just keep talking to him.
Weapons and protection are sturdy enough by and large, but when overused, they'll eventually break. When their durability is low, repair becomes a necessity. Use a powder, or simply rest at a bonfire. But should chance impel them break, bring them me. I'll hammer them back into shape.
He's so helpful.
Take no pleasure in breaking, I assure ye. So handle them with care, if you would.
Everybody loves Andre for good reason.
There are two ways
He's a
to smith
sweetheart.
weapons. Simple reinforcement is one, and infusion the other. Reinforcement is straightforward. It strengthens a weapon without altering its property. Infusion is a more advanced form of smithing that infuses an element. Reinforcement requires titanite, and infusion requires gems. Bring the stones, and I'll do the smithing. It's my purpose, after all. In battle, your weapons are your only friends. Forge them well, and they won't let you down.
So there's another gesture, the hurrah gesture.
Another matter. Infusing weapons with gems requires a special kind of coal. My humble coals won't be any use infusing more unusual gems. I know, it's an awful shame, but it's all I have. Oh, please don't give me that
I'm
look.
not judging you.
Believe it or not, I'm quite thin-skinned. Oh, by the by, if you find any Estus shards, bring them here. They can be used to reinforce either of your Estus flasks. Without those flasks, you'd want for life or focus, and they'll always stay with you. Why not treat them well, huh?
So Estus is...
Be careful. I don't want to see my work squandered.
Oh, you softy. You just don't want me to get hurt. Estus is in the bottom left here. You'll see that yellow, orangey flask. That's essentially our health pot. It just gives us our health back, so I'll do it now. Boom. I restored a little bit of my health in the top left. The blue one is for focus points, which is the blue bar under my health bar in the top left. That's essentially like mana. So like it's mostly used for spells and magic, but in this game, the weapons also can do certain like special skills if you use a certain attack, and that uses focus points. So you can also use it for that, but mostly that's for magic. So I will probably not be putting any of my Estus flask like charges into the Ashen version. All right, I think this is the last fella we need to talk to before we can go kill things.
All that unkindled, and a seeker of lords, I am Ludleth of Corland. Look not in bewilderment as I say. I linked the fire long ago, becoming a lord of Cinder. If substantiation be thy want, set thine eyes upon my charred corpse.
Nobody knows what you mean, Ludleth.
This sad cadaver. No need to be coy. Have a closer look.
Ew, David! Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Schitt's Creek lately.
Knowest thou of our purpose? 5 thrones will take 5 lords as kindling for the linking of the fire. The fast fading flame must be linked to preserve this world.
See, that's our mission.
A week
Why? Nobody knows.
of the first linking of the fire. So it is. I became a lord of Cinder. I may be but small, but I will die a colossus.
Weird goal, but okay.
Knowest thou of our
Yes, you just told me. Thank you again.
So I may
So again, yeah, that's...
treat the firekeeper not with discourtesy.
I would never.
She is much like thee. Prisoners both, kept to link the fire.
So yeah, that's essentially as much instruction as you're going to get in this game. You need to bring the lords back to their thrones and then link the fire. And then I think... Is that everything? I think that's everything we need to do right now. Alright, so... Now we're going to embed the coiled sword that we got after we killed that first boss, Udex Gundyr? I don't know. That really giant guy who became this weird flailing monstrosity purple thing. So now, theoretically, we can continue on our journey. What do you think? Let's do it. So, our first destination, the High Wall of Lothric. As Firekeeper said, Lothric is where I don't remember how she phrased it, the lands of the lords converge or something. There's a lot of, like, word soup in this game where they just sort of throw a lot of, like, fantasy-esque words at you and hope you can assemble them into some sort of meaning, which is a little bit of a mean, like, assessment, but it's also kind of true. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, a lot of the fun of this game is sort of piecing things together on your own and sort of making meaning out of stuff that doesn't necessarily inherently have a lot of meaning, which, if you think about it, kind of makes sense. You are not, like, you as the player are not a part of this world, and the game doesn't really go out of its way to explain the world to you, which is a perfectly valid choice in world building. And we'll talk more about world building and how this game approaches it, but suffice it to say, yeah, a lot of this game is sort of make it up as you go. Or at least make assumptions as you go and then see if they're, you know, reinforced or subverted later. Alright, how long have we been playing? Okay, 37 minutes. This is probably... Do I want to stop here? No, I've barely killed anything. Alright, let's go do one little section, because that way is going to lead to a dead end, and then that way is the actual way we progress. So let's go do this and get a couple of important things, important items, and then we'll be on our way. Let me make sure I didn't pick up anything. Do I want you? No. Alright, did that dog see me? Not yet. See that dog? I hate those dogs. They're the literal worst. They're so fast, and they bite so hard, and they jump around like little jumping garbage skeleton animals, and I hate them. This was a mistake. Yep. Ah, sucker. This game becomes a lot easier once you've played it a few times and you know generally where to expect people to come and ambush you. Because if you haven't played it before, it's real easy to get caught off guard. And then suddenly you're dead, and you don't know why. Hello! It's a cool halberd. I know it's mean, so like these guys look dead, but they're not. They're just, I guess, praying to these weird undead tree people. I don't know. But I like to kill them because I can backstab them. And it's so mean, but it's so fun. I don't know why I get such satisfaction out of doing that. And yet, I do. Okay, up here we need to be careful. And fast. Not you. You. Okay, so you see that purple cloud that came up when I killed him? He was going to turn into one of those same monstrosities that first boss turned into. Which, again, if you are coming into this cold and you play the game and you don't know that and you try to hit the guy who is shooting arrows at you first because he's shooting arrows at you, which normally would make sense, this other fella will turn into that monstrosity and utterly destroy you. So that's just another example of how it helps to have played this game before. Although actually the first time I played it, I got lucky. I didn't even know he would do that because I just happened to kill him first. I don't even know how or why. So it wasn't until my second playthrough, I think, that I triggered him, and I was like, this is new. What the heck? What is happening? Alright, so this little area basically exists so you can get your bow, which I love using a bow, and I can't because I don't have enough dexterity. I need 2 more dexterity. Okay, that's going to be priority 1. Bows are just really handy to have, obviously for ranged fighting, but more than that for like pulling people if they're in a group, or I don't even know. Like sometimes there's like fire barrels you can shoot that'll explode and kill enemies far away, which is always nice. And so yeah, I always like having a bow on me. Alright, that was faster even than I thought. This is a locked door for now. So this is one of those shortcuts I mentioned the game likes to include. So it forces you to go through the full like long way first to make sure you've seen everything basically. And then you can open the shortcut once you get around, and then you don't have to do it again. So that's nice. And that is this whole little dead end section that I mentioned. So let's go ahead and stop for now, and then we'll get started over there next time. But for now, thank you guys for joining me. I'm really excited. I hope that you're excited as well. We'll see. Again, I don't really know how this is going to go. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out as we go. And I hope you'll come along with me. So, bye for now. I'll see you next time.